everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the NFL Seekers podcast. Today, we're going to be doing a two-round 2024 NFL mock draft. Or sitting here right before the Super Bowl. It's a little pre-Super Bowl mock draft, pre-Super Bowl pod. Super excited for that. First of all, it's going to be a great matchup. But really excited for this mock draft. We're going to do a two-round mock draft to kind of highlight some of the sleeper prospects that you might not have heard of yet. So I'm really excited to get into this. How are you, Josh?
Oh, it's mock draft day, which is my favorite day. Anytime we get to talk about the draft and do mock drafts, I mean, hell, I do 7 rounds, Dan, but I'm not sure people would love that. But I would do seven
April.
rounds with you right now. But we'll get to that. We'll build up to that. But yeah, right now, 2 round mock draft, pre-Super Bowl Sunday mock. So obviously we'll see how that turns out. But I'm doing great. Beautiful day. Great day for a Super Bowl. Better day for a mock.
All right, so a few housekeeping items. First of all, we're going to be alternating every other pick, and we got a coin toss to get to. We got coin flip stores with the coin flip ceremonies. If you want to start that off.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, I'm going to call tails
Ready?
this time. I'm going to call tails this time for pick one.
Can you see it? Or is it too blurry? Oh,
There's a reflection, but you can see it. You can see it.
okay. We're gonna roll with it.
Go.
Oh wait, no. Minor technical difficulties. All right, here
All
we
right.
are.
No, no,
So long.
you get
Uh,
Caleb.
all right, I'll get the no-brainer pick at number one. But before we do that, should we talk about just one trade we want to get out of the way? We're not gonna do trades in this mock, but we do want to just do one that we think is kind of chalked at this point.
Yeah, so you're probably going to give Caleb Williams to the Bears. So housekeeping items, since this is a two-round mock draft, are you trading Justin Fields? And if so, where are you trading him? And are you trading him for a second round pick or?
Yeah, I think the destination that makes the most sense is the Falcons. And I think the Falcons, with their 43rd pick, ultimately makes the most sense. They're a team that's kind of sitting in that in between stage, but needs a quarterback. With the new head coach, with Raheem Morris, I think this one just makes so much sense. And, with an analytical guy, like Zach Robinson coming in, I think he could work with Justin Fields, and I think that Atlanta would be honestly the perfect destination for him. And so I'd give up the 43rd pick for Justin Fields. I think that's what he's going to go for.
All right, I like it. And with that, let's start the draft. Who are the Chicago Bears taking with the first overall pick?
You know, it really start. The draft really starts after pick one. Obviously, let's chalk in Caleb Williams. You know, a guy that's been in college, who's just been a blue chip generational. And I hate to use the word generational, but there are guys that are generational, and Caleb Williams is generational with his arm talent, with his legs. He's probably the best dual threat quarterback easily in this class, in my opinion. And I feel like he's still got a ton of room to grow. And Chicago, they missed out on Patrick Mahomes a couple of years ago. They ultimately go with Justin Fields. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be the right fit. And so you trade Justin Fields, you go get your number one guy in a really good quarterback draft class, and it's Caleb Williams all day long.
I like that. You can't argue with it. I think he's in a tier of his own up at the top of this quarterback class. I really just think he's that type of prospect, and he's as generational as it gets. So you're excited as a Bears fan, and with that, we'll select him, and we'll go on to the Washington Commanders pick. And this is an interesting one. It does start a little bit of a domino effect depending on kind of what quarterback they take. What do you, I guess we're not going to do trades in this mock draft, another housekeeping item. So what are you thinking about Jaden Daniels? Where do you think he ends up? Do you think he goes in two or three, or do you think he falls to like six or eight? What are you thinking?
So this is a great conversation because right now, ultimately for the Washington Commanders, they have to go quarterback. Sam Howell is not the answer. And you got Drake May, and they're two totally different quarterbacks. So Jaden Daniels and Drake May right here are two totally different quarterbacks. But yeah, and Jaden Daniels, I feel like, with the quarterback needy teams, somebody will. I don't see Jaden Daniels falling out of the top five. I don't think there's a scenario where that happens, because you got down below, you've got obviously the Falcons. If in whatever world they don't trade for Justin Fields, and this we have them trading for Justin Fields, but you got the Broncos, Raiders, and Vikings, who are all kind of borderline quarterback teams, on the outside looking in. So somebody would trade up for him. But this is a good conversation. It's a good conversation starter with the Washington Commanders because it's like, they don't have a great offensive line. And maybe Jaden Daniels, being, probably the second best dual threat quarterback behind Caleb Williams. Maybe you look at it and, he's a little bit more of a playmaker. He can get outside of the pocket. He can create, things with his legs, where Drake May, you're going to be more of a traditional sit in the pocket, and sling the ball. So it kind of depends, with where they go and what Cliff Kingsbury likes. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, Coach Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, which are, Kyler Murray may be more of a little bit of a guy that likes to escape a little bit more. So it just kind of depends what he likes more. But it is a good conversation started with Jaden Daniels, because this could be Jaden Daniels. I feel like everyone's kind of chalk Drake May, but we don't know what the Commanders prefer.
Yeah, we don't know what the Commanders prefer, and I do think that the more Cliff type of player, Cliff is a short game kind of stick, short concept kind of core guy. I want to go with Jaden Daniels. I'm gonna actually try to switch things up. We'll see how it affects things here. I'm gonna go with Jaden Daniels to the Commanders. I think he's the most Cliff type of quarterback in this class. The way he operates at the short game, he has a great deep ball as well. 99 deep grade for PFF last year is pretty insane. So I'm just gonna test it out. We'll go Jaden Daniels at 2 here.
Yeah, no, I really like that, and I think it's a good conversation piece because it needs to be talked about more. But yeah, I like it. I like the fact that Jaden Daniels too he's more mobile with his feet, and he can create something out of nothing. And maybe that's what the Commanders need is they're building around that offensive line with Jaden Daniels or Drake May. But
All right.
in this scenario, Jaden Daniels.
What are the Patriots doing at 3? Are they gonna take May or Marvin?
You know what? If Drake May falls to 3, the Patriots are running. They are running to the podium. They are handing in the card, and they're high fiving all the way home. This is the perfect thing for Gerard Mayo. You get a guy who has traits of Justin Herbert and Josh Allen in him. He's a big dude. He can make crazy throws with. I mean, he can make I mean, I was cutting some tape of Drake May, and there was one where he steps up in the pocket and his body's like completely turned sideways, and he slings it like 40 yards cross field, and it was an incompletion, but it was the greatest incompletion I've ever seen. But Drake May's a toolsy guy. He's got the big arm. Somebody's gonna fall in love with it, and if the Patriots, they missed out on the second overall pick, but somehow Drake May falls to them, they're running to the podium.
Right, yeah, you have to lock in Drake May to the Patriots. It does feel like he's just a Patriot type of quarterback, and it feels like a perfect kind of Brady eventual replacement. So it's beautiful. I'll lock in that pick right there, and that moves us on to the Cardinals at 4. And this is you've
We're
got
running. We're sprinting.
you've got the GM just literally sprinting, just running as fast as he can up to the podium. You got Marvin Harrison Jr., the best receiver prospect I have personally ever seen. I would say, I would say he's the best receiver prospect of all time. Just has the makings of a star. He excels in every single aspect. How tall is he? Is he 6'3", 6'4", 6'4", and he just has incredible route running. He moves so smooth and fluid. His dad is, Hall of Famer Marvin Harrison. So much to like about him. You don't have to talk about this one for too long. Beautiful, beautiful pick. The Cardinals are so happy.
The Cardinals just finally found their Larry Fitzgerald replacement, and they're sprinting that card up there. So home run pick. Don't even have to really talk about it. It's already chalked if he's there. It's just there's no they're not going to pass on him. And I'll get into my Chargers right here. And this one, I could go a number of different ways. We could go offensive tackle. Malik Neighbors is on the board. Brock Bowers is right there. Hell, we could go corner. We need so many different needs. So in a mock where we do, down the road where we do trades, I think eventually the Chargers' best scenario would be to trade down the board. This one we're not going to do that in our 2-round mock. We'll get to that eventually. But if I'm weighing the options and I'm thinking about a guy that can help us the most, we need help blocking. We have horrible tight ends. We don't have a tight end on the roster. They're gonna keep Keenan Allen, so I think that's gonna, and they have Josh Palmer. They got to develop Quentin Johnson, so I think that crosses off a receiver right here at 5. Even though Roma Dunze and Malik Neighbors are tempting. You still have Trey Pipkins for 2 years. He had a down season, but I think we're going to roll with Trey Pipkins just because we have so many other needs. And I'm going to go for another generational blue chip guy. Sorry, I'm excited. I'm talking really fast, but give me Brock Bowers, man. He's not the best blocker in the NFL, but he's a willing blocker. And I think he's going to put on a little bit more mass. I think he'll get better at blocking. But this guy, you can line him up any kind of position. He can play slot. He can play H-back. I mean, they were handing off the ball to him. He can play X. I mean, he comes in, he can play a traditional tight end role. He's not going to be a guy that's slamming defensive tackles to the ground, but he's a willing blocker. And he's gonna be willing to get better. And he's a generational pass catcher. And Chargers, obviously Hall of Famer, should have been a Hall of Famer. Antonio Gates. Um,
Mm.
you know, we've struggled with a tight end since he's been gone, and Justin Herbert needs his dude. So a guy that can catch and block. Give me Brock Bowers, and I'm sprinting this one in. I'm hugging people when this happens.
I love that. And I will say, we're not doing trades in this one. I think realistically, I really just have a feeling, and there's a lot of kind of news recently indicating that the Chargers are going to trade down just a few spots and pick their right tackle of their choice, like a Fuaga or I don't know, a Mims or a Latham, or I don't know, even Olu if he falls. I do have a feeling that they trade down for a tackle, or if
Or a
Bowers,
corner.
if they can somehow get him trading down, or Arnold. It does feel like that, but this would be electric.
Yeah, I think ultimately, because there's so many needs, the best play on the board would be to trade down. But yeah, in this scenario, no trades. Brock Bowers, another blue chip guy like Marvin Harrison and Caleb Williams. I think those are your three blue chip dudes, and you're still high fiving.
And in this scenario, the Giants are clapping. This is honestly the ideal, perfect scenario for the Giants. You get your choice at wide receiver, who the Giants are hurting at. Let's just say that they're in a big need of a weapon at this position. And I am gonna go. This is honestly easy for me. I think a lot of people would go Neighbors, but for the Giants specifically, you have to go Dunze, in my opinion. The alpha outside wide receiver one. He's much more comfortable on the outside as that wide receiver one type. Um, over Neighbors. So I do think Doomsday is like the perfect giant. And if he falls to 6, I really don't see the Giants passing up on Rome. So I think this is the perfect fit, and that the Giants are really happy about this.
Yeah, what do you? I agree. The Giants have not had a perimeter receiver, and I don't even know how long. It seems like they just draft Kadarius Tonys, Sterling Shepherds, Wandell Robinson's always slot dudes. I mean, I guess they have Jalen Hyatt, who they got last year, but he's not an alpha perimeter wide receiver. He's just a run 9 route, and hopefully he gets past the safety. What do you think about the? I'm hearing a lot of player comps of Romo Dunze to Larry Fitzgerald. What do you make of that?
It does make sense, kind of just the way they play. They don't wear sleeves on their legs. They have you can see their bare legs. They kind of don't really look as swaggy as these other guys, but they just have the old school kind of type of play, rack, or not really rack, but just kind of intermediate, and just really reliable receivers. I like that comp, honestly. He's a little bit more athletic. He's got a lot more straight line speed, but I do actually see that comp in the intermediate game.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a fun comp. I mean, it's hard to comp anyone to Larry Fitzgerald, but Romo Dunze is definitely a dog. And this one right here, so the Titans, this want to go back and forth because Brian Callahan, Bill Callahan, you got Bill Callahan, the OG offensive line guy, who's his dad. He's going to be punching for Joe Alt. And then you got Brian Callahan, who's the new head coach, I want my Justin Jefferson. Malik Neighbors is staring me right in the face right there. And so this one is like I'm trying to weigh which one leans up a little bit more. But I mean, in this deep of I mean, the offensive tackle class is elite, and you have your chance to get your offensive tackle of choice, and you have your number one priority should definitely be to protect Will Levis. So I am going to go Joe Alt here. I think he's the best tackle on the board. I think he's the most plug and play ready dude. Um, has only given up, one sack in the last 2 years. He's a dog. He's an efficient run blocker. He's an elite pass blocker. You line him up on the left side, and you don't have to worry about it for the next decade. So yeah, Joe All. I think Bill Callahan wins the fight in this one. Malik Neighbors is really tempting, but I think the chances of finding an elite wide receiver later in the draft are a little bit higher than an elite offensive tackle, and you get your pick of the top 3.
I mean, just like the Giants, the Titans are absolutely just happy as hell that Joe Alt fell to them. He's kind of their dream option, and that's by far their biggest need is offensive line. You can get a guy like Joe Alt, who is the best offensive lineman in this class, the safest, most refined, and ready to dominate now on that left side with Skoronski. It's perfect. And then moving on to the Falcons, this is where the first defensive player goes off the board, in my opinion, unless they trade up for like Jaden Daniels. I do think the Falcons will end up with the first defensive player. And for me, I'm deciding between edge, Dallas Collins, I think he's just going to blow up the combine. I think Dallas Turner. I said
Dallas Collins. I like that name too.
Dallas Turner out of Alabama. I think he's going to blow up the combine, and I mean he's just a freak athlete. So I'm between him and another Alabama player, Terrion Arnold, who I'm ultimately going to take. I think he is the best corner in the class. I think he goes a lot earlier than he's being talked about right now. I think he also kills the combine, and he's kind of really refined right now, and he's also really got a lot of upside. He's got a lot of tools. So I think Terrion Arnold goes in the top 10, and I'm going to take him here for the Falcons.
Yeah, you get the most toolsy corner, a guy that's going to be, I think, 20 most of his rookie year. Played at a big time school. You can't hate the pick, and an elite corner needs to go off the board in the top 10. And I love the pick. Terrion Arnold, definitely the most toolsy guy, and definitely probably has the most upside. So I absolutely love that.
Now are the Bears going edge, or are they just pairing Caleb with Neighbors here?
See, no, yeah, this is tough. I don't think Malik Neighbors just with the tool set is can fall out of the top 10. This is I am gonna go Malik Neighbors. You pair him. You get Caleb Williams, Malik Neighbors, and DJ Moore on the same field with Cole Kmet. That's electric stuff, man. They're gonna lose Darnell Mooney, so they do need a legit wide receiver too. But Malik Neighbors damn near might be the wide receiver one over DJ Moore, who's an elite wide receiver one. And these two are very similar. You kind of brought up the player comp of Malik Neighbors being like DJ Moore. I agree with that, but you have two DJ Moores. Teams are going to be struggling to cover, man. Who do you double team? And Malik Neighbors just has that elite ball tracking, and he's. I kind of give my comp, which is cheesy, like Jamar Chase, but just really take the top off of that defense and can really run any route. Intermediate, short game, get vertical on you. Malik Neighbors is that guy. There is some stuff he does need to work on. That's why I feel like, he probably is the third wide receiver off the board, but he'd be wide receiver one in a lot of draft classes. But I think the Bears with Malik Neighbors falling to 9 are ecstatic. And Caleb Williams is happy to be a Bear.
Yeah, Caleb Williams and Malik Neighbors. You got DJ Moore coaching up Neighbors. Not too much to say about that. It's just perfect, and it's like Madden-esque. It's so fun. And with that, we'll go on to pick 10 with the Jets, and it's pretty easy. No Bowers here. If Bowers was here, I'd be pretty tempted. But with no Bowers, you got to go offensive line. And with Mekhi Becton as a free agent, I'm just going to take Olu. I think he is the best offensive lineman available. I do think Fuaga is really close, and if Olu's gone here, I do think the Jets like Fuaga to plug in at right tackle. It seems like a perfect fit. But in this situation, I do think Olu is the best tackle available, just barely edging out Fuaga. He's just so refined as a pass protector already. He's got so much upside. So I think you just plug him in on that left side, replacing Becton.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is happy with that one. And yeah, Olu Fashanu probably one of has probably some of the cleanest tape. Obviously, he had a game against Ohio State where he struggled, which everyone wants to knock him for, but realistically, it was the only bad game he's ever had. But he is a very clean offensive tackle prospect with, his footwork and his hands are at an elite level. And there's a few things he needs to clean up. He could get better in the run game, but Aaron Rodgers is probably calling the shot on this pick, and that makes a lot of sense. And I don't know. Other than outside of the Ohio State tape, I don't understand all the hate on Olu. Seems like he's falling down boards. And at pick number 10, I mean, he's a steal. But I've even seen him go to 18 in the Lance Zerline mock draft, which I just thought was just asinine.
All right, and then who are the Vikings picking at 11? Are they pairing up Brian Flores, someone on defense, or are they going to go JJ?
This is tough. I think they're going to sign Kirk Cousins. I don't think they're going to let Kirk Cousins. I think that they'd be stupid to let Kirk Cousins. I think maybe they sign Kirk Cousins to a 1 or 2 year deal, and maybe come second round in this mock. We'll be looking at a quarterback. But right now, Danielle Hunter is looking like he's out the door. We got the top edge rusher in Dallas Turner. We got Jared Verse. And if Daniil Hunter's out the door, you gotta find Brian Flores, another elite pass rusher. You get your choice of your top dude right here. I'm gonna go Dallas Turner. I think he's gonna test the best of the combine. I think he's the most elite dude with the most tools and the most upside. And yeah, I think Brian Flores is absolutely, ecstatic with this pick, and I think we'll see quarterback come a little later. But yeah, I'm going to go Dallas Turner here.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that pick. I think the Vikings ultimately go edge, and they'd be just jumping up and down if they could get Turner. And that moves us on to the Broncos here at 12, and it's kind of it leads into the question: are the Broncos gonna go quarterback, or are they just gonna go best player available here? And I think in this scenario, in this mock draft for fun, we'll give them the quarterback. We'll go
Can I
JJ.
cut you off for like 2 seconds? What do you think about that Russell Wilson news that dropped today? I want to get that out of the way.
It's just to make his agent happy or something. Russell Wilson will not go back to the Broncos. He has too much pride. He would probably retire before playing for Sean Payton, and then vice versa. I don't think Sean Payton would ever play again with Russ. So I just think that's completely false, to be honest.
Okay, I agree. I thought it was a whole bunch of smoke. It was weird, but yeah, I agree. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Yeah, they both have too much pride. It is weird. I feel like their agents are just blowing smoke at this point. But I am gonna go with JJ McCarthy because there's a lot of news. Like Dane Brugler's talking about McCarthy going in the top 12, and he kind of pointed out top 12 specifically, kind of hinting that Sean Payton might like him. And who knows what Sean Payton's gonna ultimately end up doing. I do have a feeling that he will see the tools that McCarthy has. He's a very toolsy guy with a lot of, potential and a lot of he's a molding ball of clay. He really is. So you can really just mold him and make him into a good quarterback. So I like him for Sean Payton here at 12.
Yeah, I mean, JJ McCarthy's a true junior coming into the draft. I don't think he would have declared if he didn't know he wasn't going to be a first round pick. I think he knows, and if he declares, yeah, and he comes into the draft early, and he knows he's going in the first round. And from what I'm hearing is, teams are saying JJ McCarthy, he doesn't have a lot of tape. Michigan was a run first team, but he has elite processing skills, and he's a dual threat quarterback. He can run. He's fairly accurate, and yeah, like you said, he's just a molding ball of clay. You get to mold him and turn him into what you want to be. I believe he's 20 most of his rookie season, and for a guy like Sean Payton, you really get to build around him. So yeah, I think this one makes all too much sense. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if a team trades up into the top 10 come April for JJ McCarthy. I think he's gonna test well at the combine. I think he's gonna interview really well, and I think somebody's gonna fall in love with him.
All right, who are the Raiders taking at 13?
Oh, this is interesting. They could go a number of different directions. I think the Broncos just finessed their quarterback that they wanted. Tom Telesco is punching the draft board right now. But we could go corner, we could go lineman. Man, Talisa Fuaga is still on the board, right?
Yes.
I I really think, yeah, I think I want to go offensive tackle. Talisa Fuaga right here at 13 is an absolute steal. He's a mauler in the run game. You pair him on the other side of Colton Miller, and you're good to go. And I don't know which way they'll end up going with quarterback. Maybe we'll see one come off the board a little later in this pick, but I think the Broncos just stole JJ McCarthy from them, and you go get a no brainer offensive tackle, who just has a mean streak to him and has that Raider feel. So I'm gonna lock in Talisa Fuaga.
Yeah, I do like that pick. Fuaga's definitely falling too far. He's such a just refined. He's kind of just a solid right tackle, and you can just plug him in and play him immediately, and he could be very effective. So I love that pick. I will say I love Quinyon Mitchell to the Raiders too. I think that is just a sneaky fit that I could totally see happening. For the
100% agree.
Saints, here, this is also tough. You could, kind of start the Bo Nix conversation, but we're not going to go quarterback in this scenario. And the Saints are tough. They could go in literally any direction. I would have gone Fuaga. You definitely did finesse Fuaga. I'm kind of thinking J.C. Latham might be a little bit early. I think
I mean,
unless you
Latham does make a lot of sense with the versatility on the line. I'll be honest, I did mock earlier today, and I actually had Olu fall into the Raiders, and then I actually went Latham. But yeah, to the Saints, which I don't know. I wouldn't hate on that pick.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely between J.C. Latham and Latu. I think who the Saints are a struggle at edge, and I feel like Latu kind of feels like a Saint. Oh, that's actually a tough one. Let's just go Latham. I actually kind of like that. Let's. Oh wait, no. they got Ryan Ramczyk. We can give him a few
Latham
more.
could play. I mean, he could be an elite guard, but yeah, maybe that's actually if you think about Ryan Ramczyk there. Ryan Ramczyk is a free agent, though, I believe, or am I wrong?
I don't think he is yet, but I am going to go Latu here. I think Latu doesn't really belong here because I think he could go top 10. He really should. And to me, I think he's a star edge. So I do want to highlight how good Latu is. And this does feel like a kind of a same pick as well. And they're
Um,
weak at edge.
I mean, Latu really should be. I can't even believe, he's this is a dude with elite production. Some of the, the best pass rush. I mean, he does have the best pass rushing moves in the entire draft. It's just the medicals, but I mean, he looked fine at the or at the Senior Bowl, excuse me. And yeah, I mean, back-to-back seasons with elite production with a pass rush repertoire, it's clean as his is. I mean, this dude should be top 15. I mean, it'd be embarrassing if he wasn't.
Absolute monster, such a clean prospect. And then who are the Colts going to take at 15?
So this is part of the reason I want to go Quinion Mitchell here. Kenny Moore is a free agent. Obviously Kenny Moore is a slot. I do believe Quinion Mitchell has the versatility to play outside or slot corner, but he tested elite. This feels like a Chris Ballard dude. I think this is the sweet spot where he should go in the draft. He had an outstanding Senior Bowl. He was probably the best player on the field at the Senior Bowl, and yeah, this feels like a Chris Ballard pick written all over it. And you get a guy, who I think is aggressive enough to play in the slot, and also just has the footwork and speed to play outside. So yeah, let's lock in Quinion Mitchell here. This is one I did in an earlier mock that I was really liking.
No, this one gets me really excited. I haven't even thought about this one. I don't really see this, but this is perfect. He's a perfect Eberflus guy, perfect for the Colts defense. This is kind of where I see Mitchell going this range, and I think it's perfect pairing with Julius Brents. I really like that. That gets me excited, honestly. And moving on to the Seahawks, I'm thinking interior offensive line, and we're gonna go with the biggest riser of the Senior Bowl, one of the bigger risers recently, Jackson Powers Johnson, just an absolute monster in the interior, bulldozer of a blocker, and I think he's going to be a star center for a long time. He's just so versatile. Can start him at guard; he could be really good there, and he's just such a good pass blocker and mean run blocker. So I'm pretty confident that you just plug him in there, and he'll be a great Seahawk for a while.
Yeah, no, this dude is a 330-pound center. Absolutely was just a bulldozer, bullied people at the Senior Bowl, and him and Quinion Mitchell rose up the board the most of the Senior Bowl. They both had one of the most outstanding weeks. And yeah, I feel like this is, obviously people devalue the center position, but when you're getting a true guy that, is as clean of a prospect and is a mauler as Jackson Powers Johnson, it's, the Seahawks. And he feels like a Seahawk guy. He feels like he has that mean streak, he feels like that sees, obviously the Northwest, that has it written all over him.
Feels like a Seahawk. Congrats, McDonald.
Yes. Um, all right. So the Jacksonville Jaguars here at number 17. This is interesting because obviously free agency and who they decide to re-sign and let walk will play a big, big role in this one. Josh Allen is a free agent. Calvin Ridley is a likely cut candidate. Um, I don't feel like, Josh Allen coming off a 17 sack season. I feel like he holds all the leverage. I feel like they would be dumb to let him walk. They're going to use the franchise tag on him. There's just no way they can possibly afford to lose him.
Calvin
Um,
really is a free agent, by the way.
oh,
They actually have an incentive. If they let him walk, they have to give up like a fifth round pick instead of a second round pick if they re-sign him. They have to actually give away a second round pick to re-sign him. So they actually kind of have an incentive to let him walk.
yeah, screw that. Calvin Ridley is gone. And so yeah, we're gonna go look at wide receiver. And yes, my number one wide receiver on the board here, Brian Thomas Jr., a guy who scored 17 touchdowns, had 1,100 receiving yards. Is a great contested catch guy. Yeah, we're gonna lock Brian Thomas Jr. in. We're gonna get Trevor Lawrence, a big physical weapon that can get in the end zone, which they struggled at a lot last year, to be honest with you. So yeah, Brian Thomas Jr., you keep Josh Allen, you let Calvin Ridley walk, you keep your second round pick. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. I'm very high on Brian Thomas. If it wasn't such a crazy receiver draft, he would be a lot higher. So I love this pick. It feels like a steal for the Jaguars. He's going to be a perfect complement to Trevor's game. And with that, we'll go on to the Bengals at 18. And I feel like they kind of got finessed with JC Latham. I feel like he would have been a perfect kind of shoe in at that right tackle spot. And wait, we didn't end up taking JC Latham. He's still on the board. Oh, okay. Never mind. This is easy then.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
taking JC Latham. Very easy replacement for Jonah Williams, and not much more to say. It's perfect. You can just plug him right in. He's a perfect starter. Very experienced at Alabama, and so I love this pick. I think he's going to be a great right tackle, honestly.
Yeah, no, this guy, JC Latham, and like we said, this is an incredible offensive tackle class. So I mean, you're able to find guys that in normal drafts might even go top 10. JC Latham, I do feel like can play left, right tackle. I feel like in a pinch he can slide into a guard position. And he's just a mean dude, man. He's offensive, he's just an offensive lineman. And yeah, this is a home run pick here.
Right? And who are the Rams taking at 19?
So right here at 19, this is, can you pull up all the corners right here?
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna go corner. We got Cooper DeJean, Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid McKinstry right here, who I think are the three most deserving guys. I really, 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 yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go Cooper DeJean here. I really like the scheme fit of Cooper DeJean. With Sean McVay and whoever they ultimately bring in as their defensive coordinator. Um, might even be Brandon Staley. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, Cooper DeJean, a guy who can really play, any position. He can be a true outside corner. People are going to hate on him and say he can't. But he's a true outside corner. He can play slot. He's one of the most. He's the most elite run defending corner in this entire class. And in a pinch, he can go out there and he can play any safety position. And he's a elite kick returner and punt returner. So yeah, Cooper DeJean here feels like too much fun for the Rams. Sean McVay could use him in a million different roles, and he can kind of be that king chess piece for the Rams defense. And so, yeah, I'm excited about this one. Pairing him up with the Rams, it seems like a perfect fit.
I'm honestly really happy you did this one. I can just see it happening. He just feels like a Ram. He has a perfect scheme fit. Kind of more of a zone guy. He could really excel as safety as a Ram. If he, failed as a corner, he would honestly excel as a safety in that scheme. So I love that pick. And also like I could just see like the Cooper Cup, Cooper DeJean, the Rams like their white stars. I could just see all the parallels and it just feels like a Rams pick. So I really like that one. And with that, we'll go on to the Steelers pick here at 20, and it's ultimately the easiest pick in the draft. Like a lot of these teams, a lot of these dream kind of prospects are falling in their laps, and Amarius Mims falls right into the Steelers' lap. They got Broderick Jones last year, absolute stud tackle who I absolutely loved as a prospect. You got Darnell Washington, who's a beast of a blocker at tight end. They got George Pickens the year before. We're gonna stick with the Georgia well. We're gonna get the molding ball of clay at tackle. In this class, Amarius Mims, all the potential in the world. You stick him on the opposite of Broderick Jones, and I think it's just a perfect bookend tackle duo for a while. It's not much more to say. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Can you actually pull his thing back up for me, if you would, and go to first look? Yeah, 6'7", 340 pounds. This is a monster. And yeah, Mike Tomlin, he likes, this is like a steel curtain on the offensive line. Broderick Jones, Darnell Washington, Amarius Mims. These guys are just bullies, man. So I love it. Just wanted to point that out, how absolutely huge he is. Definitely a guy that needs a little bit of developing, a little bit of coaching, but put him into a Steelers culture where they just can mold the big uglies, and I love it.
Right, and who are the Dolphins taking?
This one I struggle with. Because the Dolphins I kind of feel like are in a very weird spot. They definitely need offensive line help. All their edge, Jalen Phillips is hurt. I think he's going to be hurt probably into mid-season. Van Ginkel's gone. Who else got hurt? Who's their other edge? I'm drawing a blank.
Bradley Chubb, Jalen
Yeah,
Phillips.
Bradley Chubb, he tore his ACL. Um, Jalen. So it's tough because you need to have an elite pass rusher. I mean, you're not going to start the season with your top two guys. I don't know whether they find that in free agency with like a Kyle Van Noy or something, but gosh, Jared Verse is on the board still right here, and I'm just kind of eyeing that down. Yeah, I think you go BPA, and you need help to start the beginning of the season. Maybe you can find. I think you can probably find some cheap veteran offensive tackle and free agency too. Guard, Gosh, Jared Verse is still on the board. He's a Florida State kid. You know, their scouting would have been at every single one of those Florida State games. So yeah, I mean, Jared Verse here is just too tempting. He has no he should not be on the board here at 21. And yeah, this is I'm not gonna let him fall past the Dolphins here.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Jared Verse feels like he has no business being this low. It's a little bit too tempting. At this spot, you can easily start him day one. He has so much college experience in big games. You know, he'll be ready to play day one. So love that pick. We'll move on to the Eagles here at 22, and it's one of the few teams where you can just lock in one position. They are 100% taking a corner, and this one's easy for me in this scenario. Nate Wiggins falls, and I honestly love Nate Wiggins. I think he's being not talked about enough. I think he's kind of just a stud. He's locked down some really good corners. He has a good track record of kind of who he's faced, and he's been doing it for a while. A lot of experience, a lot of potential. I just see that dog mentality in him. He's a great athlete. I just love Nate Wiggins. I feel like the Eagles would be very lucky to get him here, honestly.
Oh yeah, I know this is excuse me, a team that has really no other option but to go corner. There is rumors about Hassan Reddick leaving, which I think he probably ultimately will. But even still, maybe we'll talk about that second round. But yeah, you lock in a corner here. You need secondary help. Your secondary got torched. It was bad. It was ugly, and it just got exposed more and more. Come late season. And that's their Achilles heel, and that's exactly what they needed to attack and fix first.
All right, who are the Texans taking?
So this one may shock some people. I'm really excited about this guy. It's probably gonna throw you for a loop, Dan. You might end up really liking it. You might hate it, but I'm gonna go Missouri edge Darius Robinson here. Um, the guy who won Senior Bowl Player of the Week. He rose up most people. I mean, he was consensus at one point, a third, fourth round pick. He is now, I think, a lock for second round, but I think he could go early as 23 here to the Texans. I feel like this guy feels like an absolute. Sorry, I'm talking so fast, I'm losing my train of thought. Excuse me, the coach of the Texans. My mind just blanked on me.
Nico.
Yeah, D'Amico Ryans. Yeah, I mean, you pair Darius Robinson, who has honestly position flexibility of playing interior and edge. He's a real tone setter. He could rush if you decide to ultimately line him up as like a three technique in the inside, he's a true elite pass rusher. And he's a guy, he's just one of the most flexible edge, defense tackle. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of a Tuli Pelotu from last year. And you give him to a guy like D'Amico Ryans who can mold him into something fantastic. Pair him with Will Anderson. Gosh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a little bit rich for me, but pairing him with Miko Ryans, you could mold him. He's got a lot of potential, and yeah, he's a big riser right now. So I like you taking that shot on him. And with the Cowboys here is a hard one. I can totally see them going lineman, offensive tackle, kind of get that Terrence Steele replacement. But in this scenario, I think I'm actually going to go with the top interior defensive lineman off the board. I'm going to go Byron Murphy, keep him in the state of Texas. I feel like they kind of missed on Mozzie Smith, and you can get Byron Murphy in here, who's a really good pass rusher. You can really have an impact in that interior, Chris Jones type of player. So I think the Cowboys will fall in love with him, and if he's somehow here at 24, I'm going to steal him.
Yeah, I mean, the rich get richer, essentially. You just you build what you're strong at, and that's what the Cowboys have always done with the defensive line and the offensive line. And yeah, Byron Murphy, definitely a true elite pass rusher. And yeah, I mean, he's probably going to be the first defensive interior guy off the board. So I really like that. Mozzie Smith, more of a one technique, early down type of guy, and Byron Murphy, you have him on those true pass rushing downs.
All right, who are the Packers taking?
Another really easy one for me. Kool-Aid McHistory is staring me in the face right here. He is just so clean. He was so clean that he didn't even get thrown at last year, and that's why he's kind of ultimately falling. Early rankings had him as the consensus corner one, but he just wasn't thrown at enough to really show anything. I mean, teams knew he was a lockdown corner. He is such a clean corner. He just does not panic when he's trailing receivers. Jair Alexander, do we think, I mean, it's kind of consensus right now. I think Jair Alexander's gone.
Not really consensus. I would say it's it's definitely a good possibility. I feel like the Packers aren't really, I just feel like they don't really love him. They don't really value him as much as they should. So I could see him being gone, but either way, this would be a big need just to see
Yeah,
DT.
I mean, Rasul Douglas went to Buffalo, which was a big loss in my opinion. And yeah, William McKinstry here, just a really clean corner prospect, not a lot of red flags, and just I don't see a lot of downside or downfall to his game. He's an elite corner. He's going to go out there and he's going to lock guys down. So yeah, the Packers would be absolutely lucky. I think this was one of the more steals of the draft in my opinion because I think he's being overlooked.
Yeah, and the Packers have a lot of needs in that secondary. He could play safety. I think a lot of people actually view Kool-Aid as a safety, and I think he'd be a damn good one in this scheme. So either way, I think this is a great pick for the Packers. You add him to that secondary to start day one, and I'll move on to the Buccaneers pick here. I'm definitely tempted to go like a Troy Franklin, just get a great deep threat. Mike Evans is up there in his contract, and
Yeah, do we think Mike Evans leaves? I mean, he's going to be expensive. And they're going to have to pay Baker.
yeah, I feel like with Baker coming back, they'll make a way to retain Mike Evans. I feel like it's not really the smart move, but I just feel like he's gonna stay. I just feel like he's been there for so long. I'm getting the vibes that he stays. Are you thinking he leaves or?
I think it'd be kind of weird. I think kind of like Keenan Allen, who I think will ultimately stay with the Chargers. I feel like they're legends of the game. Their games have not slowed down. Maybe you sign them to a 2-year deal where the cap hits really, a lot in 2025 and you have an out if you need. So yeah, I think it would make sense to retain Mike Evans, but that still doesn't mean you still can't draft a wide receiver for the future.
I was thinking about Johnny Newton here, but I think I've actually came to a decision. I am going to take Troy Fatanu. I think the Dolphins could have taken him at 21. I feel like Fatanu is
Oh, for sure.
kind of just the best pure guard in this draft. I just really see him starting day one in the interior and having a good impact. So I think this is the safest pick. The Bucks like their Washington prospect, so I actually like this pick.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to be mad about that. The trenches are the most important spot. You protect Baker Mayfield, who just earned himself a huge payday. And yeah, I mean, and Troy Fatano could definitely play tackle if needed. I think, yeah, he slots in best in the NFL as a guard, but yeah, can definitely play tackle in a pinch.
All right, who are the Cardinals taking? They already took Marvin.
I was honestly thinking Fatanu here, but you kind of just finessed me there. Fatanu would have been a great pick. Who's our best tackles left on the board?
Got Jordan Morgan and Tyler Guyton.
Oh, Tyler Guyton had a hell of a Senior Bowl. Yeah, I think I like Tyler Guyton here. Yeah, I think Tyler Guyton, really rose his stocks at the Senior Bowl. Had some of the most. I mean, he shut down everyone. He shut down Chris Braswell, which might have dropped Chris Braswell out of the first round. A really clean prospect here. Sorry, not super clean, but a guy with a lot of upside, I should say. Who teams are going to fall in love with his athletic traits, and his footwork. So yeah, we got Marvin Harrison Jr. We need offensive tackle help. I mean, we need a lot of help for the Cardinals, but yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with in this offensive draft class with getting a tackle.
All right, Cardinals adding a lot to their offense in this first round here. We'll see what they do in the second round. But the Bills at 28 are ultimately jumping up and down again. Another team who is just incredibly happy that a great prospect fell to them. Troy Franklin, perfect kind of replacement to both Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, honestly, who have been very disappointing. So I think Troy Franklin's just the perfect ideal Bill. And Josh Allen would love him as a deep threat. He's such a just a he honestly is such an underrated deep threat at this point. No one really talks about it, but I think he might be the best just pure deep threat in this class. He's a burner and just a stud.
Yeah, no, I mean he made Bo Nix look good on a lot of plays. So yeah, Troy Franklin, just an absolute burner on the sideline. You pair him up with Josh Allen, who's got arguably the strongest arm in the NFL for a team that needs a wide receiver. I love it.
All right, what are the Lions doing?
Um, sad for me because I wanted him to fall to my team in the second round, but we need corner help. TJ Tampa, 6'2", 200-pound corner at Iowa State. He's really going to test off the charts at the combine. He's really going to raise his stock. And he's just a true outside, shut you down, physical press corner. And, this is the Lions' weakness. And we need to attack the weakness. We need a true alpha corner. And TJ Tampa is just, he's too good not to be a first round pick, in my opinion. I called my shot on this um, in a couple mocks ago. But yeah, TJ Tampa, I don't think is falling out of the first round, and the Lions would be lucky to get him.
feels like a lion. He is that physical corner that just fits their scheme perfectly. And yeah, also I think he's gonna rise. I actually do see him as a first round pick as well. And then for the Ravens here at 30, there's a few ways you could go. Johnny Newton really has fallen to them. It would be a complete steal. I'm kind of deciding between that and like a Lad McConkey. You pair him back up with Todd Monken. You get his guy in here, and it's tempting to do that, but I think the smartest move with Matabuike as a free agent, the Ravens are a defensive team. I am going to take Johnny Newton. I just feel like it's too hard to not take him here. He's fallen too far, so I can't pass up Johnny Newton.
It happens every year for the Ravens. It happens every single year. Somebody follows the Ravens, they do not panic. They got, their front office is some of the most cool asses in the NFL. They know how to draft. They know who's going to be there. They do not panic and they take advantage of who falls. And yeah, the Ravens here are not passing up on Johnny Newton, who for a lot of people is their interior defensive line one. Justin Mutabeke, probably, I think you can probably write him off for leaving. I think he's going to be too expensive. Somebody's going to go pay him the bank. So yeah, I absolutely love that. You just immediately find your replacement at your biggest loss in the offseason. They'll probably get a comp pick, obviously, for a Mutabike, who, the Ravens are just so good at that. They lead the NFL in comp picks, and they'll probably end up getting like a second round comp pick for him or something for third round, something crazy.
All right, what are the Chiefs doing? They going receiver? Or?
Oh man. Obviously, ooh. Yeah, I think I am. I think Chris Jones is actually. Oh, but Johnny Newton just went. Oh, this is tough. Because I really would not mind Chris Jenkins here. He would be elite. I think it's between Chris Jenkins, in my opinion, and Keon Coleman. Hmm. The Chiefs' defense is kind of what carried them. The receivers do take a hit. I don't think they're going to be able to get a really elite guy if they wait till the second round. Yeah, I'm gonna go Keon Coleman. I think his size and physicality, Mahomes throwing it up to him would just be so awesome. I would love to see that. Yeah, I'm gonna go Keon Coleman. This team desperately needs receiver help, and Keon Coleman. How tall is he? Can we look at his first look?
6'4".
6'4". Yeah, wow. Yeah, I 6'4", 215. Just a guy with some elite traits. Pair him with Mahomes. I really like it.
Yeah, no, that's honestly perfect. I feel like the Chiefs would be confident that they could make Coleman into a star with Mahomes. That'd be a insanely nasty duo. So I love that. And then the Niners get their pick for a kind of top offensive lineman pick. They need a right tackle bad with Colton McKivitz still starting somehow. So I'm going to take Jordan Morgan right here at 32 to close out the first round. It's pretty easy for me. He's a really clean pass blocker. You can honestly move him around. He's a versatile guy, and you could even plug him in at left tackle when Trent Williams is all done. So I love this pick. They need to go offensive line. And you're on mute.
Sorry, I just realized I was. Yeah, no, absolutely love Jordan Morgan here. Feels like, you got to start planning for your contingency plan, life after Trent Williams. And this is a guy that the 49ers can definitely mold, has a lot of upside. So yeah, love this pick.
All right, now we're in round two. We'll talk about the picks a lot faster. Kind of go through it quick. But are you going to pair Bryce Young with a receiver here? Or are you just thinking best player available, or what are you doing with the Panthers first
Yeah,
pick?
there's no doubt I'm going receiver here. And AD Mitchell is a guy who is on, he's one of my absolute favorite prospects. I had a player comp for him. Reminds me of a Rashee Rice, but maybe a little bit more aggressive at the point of attack. And Bryce Young desperately needs somebody. He needs help. I think you go add through free agency, and I think your first pick has to be a playmaker on the offensive side of the ball. So yeah, give me AD Mitchell here. Bryce Young will thank me later.
I love that. Really, there's a lot of good receivers still on the board there, so I think it's a steal of a pick. AD Mitchell is so good at attacking that ball at the catch point. I think he'd be a great complement to Bryce. And then for the Patriots here, you already drafted your quarterback. You got Drake May at 3, so now you just need help on offense in any way possible, whether that's offensive line, receiver. You just need help. And should we go Lad McConkey? Should we go the wide receiver to the Patriots? Is it too stereotypical, or what do you think?
Lad McConkey is my wide receiver one on the board right here. You know, the Patriots, Julian Edelman, man, Wes Welker, Freaking Chris Hogan. You're hoping to find your next guy. I don't hate it. I think it's hilarious, but I mean, I wouldn't even hate like a Roman Wilson or somebody like that.
Yeah, Roman Wilson, honestly, I think I might have higher on my board. He is just absolutely electric. You could take a Sua Matea type of offensive lineman. Ultimately, I it would be fun going with the white guy for the Patriots, but that regime's gone. Bill is gone, and we're gonna move on to Roman Wilson.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
him. He's really just rose and shot up boards since the Senior Bowl, and I think the combines are gonna shoot him up boards even more. He honestly reminds me of like a Chris Olave, the way he gets open and just with speed and a great clean route running. So I think Roman Wilson was honestly just kind of underutilized at Michigan, a little bit slept on, and the Patriots just stole him.
Yeah, and like I said, this is why the Chiefs had to go wide receiver early because they are going off the board fast in round two. And yeah, Roman Wilson, I love that comp. It is Chris Olave. He's gonna run a 4.3. He was outstanding. He was the only guy that could beat Quinion Mitchell at the Senior Bowl. And yeah, Patriots, if we're sticking with the theme of how they used to, they do like Michigan players. Maybe it's not the white guy, but they do love Michigan players. And I mean, I guess Roman Wilson kind of is white. I don't even know. But he's fast. He's fast. He's 4.3.
All right, who are the
uh,
Cardinals? Who are the Cardinals pairing up with Tyler Guy and Marvin Harrison? You gonna go defense for Gannon?
yeah, so we're gonna go defense. We're gonna address the edge. They do not have an elite edge rusher. We're gonna go Chris Braswell, and we're going to the big school. We're going to Bama. We're gonna find our dude, and Chris Braswell has the traits. He has production at Alabama, and he's my number one edge still on the board at this point. 3 seasons of 70 is elite. People don't realize 70 is elite PFF grade, and he has 3 seasons of over 70. So yeah, I think Chris Braswell, you need to help your defense here. You went offense in the first round, easy pick.
Yeah, super solid player. I like that pick a lot. And then for the Commanders here at 36, you took Jalen Daniels at 2, or sorry, Jaden Daniels. So you probably want to give him some help. I am a little bit tempted at like a receiver here. Tez Walker would be fun if we got Drake May in this mock draft. I probably would have taken Tez Walker here. I don't think he's worth it. If you don't have Drake May in your roster, however. So with this pick, I think I'm gonna go with the highest upside edge rusher. You got rid of both Sweat and Chase Young, so I think the smartest thing is to just go with the upside at edge rusher and just go Chop Robinson. He's honestly a pretty solid prospect. Hasn't played too much, but he's played really good when he has played, and he has a lot of upside. He's kind of just a freak and just a beast. So I like this pick.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna complain about that. I mean, at one point, pretty early, beginning of December, Chop Robinson was looked as a top 10 player. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna test off the board. His tools are elite. He's just not very refined. But yeah, the Commanders are desperate. You got rid of two of your edge rushers, and yeah, you definitely need to replenish here. And Chop Robinson definitely, is worth the upside pick right here. All right, I got my Chargers again, and um, there's just so many needs here. I could go in so many different directions, but ultimately, I think Jesse Minter signs with the Chargers. The defense side needs help. Sebastian Joseph Day is gone. Obviously, they cut him. Austin Johnson is going to be gone. You really got Otito Obonya and Morgan Fox, but Chris Jenkins is staring you right in the face. A guy that they're familiar with. It's a Harbaugh mentor type of dude. They need to address the trenches, and especially on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, Chris Jenkins, just it's a lock. It's a lock at this point to me.
Yeah, you're getting Minter and Harbaugh. They're Michigan guy. Not much more to say. The Chargers have kind of infamously needed defensive interiors. So love you pairing Bowers with Jenkins, and then for the Titans, we're gonna pair someone with Joe Alt here. Probably stick on the offensive side. Get Brian Callahan, his guy now. That Bill Callahan already got his guy. And in this scenario, for the Titans, I think you just go Lad McConkey. I think you keep him over in that area. You just go Lad McConkey. He's the best receiver available. He's going to be open. He's a great route runner. I think Brian Callahan would like.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. Out of Georgia Bulldog, man. They never seem to miss. They're just absolute dogs. And yeah, you gotta get some help for Will Levis. DeAndre Hopkins is 100 years old. Traylon Burke, that seem pick in my opinion seems to be a bust for the most part. Maybe he's wide receiver 3 at best. But yeah, you got to go get a guy that Will Levis can build a relationship with and have a receiver for a long time.
All right, who are the Giants pairing with Romo Dunze?
Giants got Romo Dunze. Oh man, this is Giants need a lot of help on a lot of side of the ball, but Adoree Jackson is a free agent. Kamari Lassiter is staring me right in the face here. I think we're going to go another Georgia Bulldog off the board. He's my corner CB1 who's still left on the board. Excuse me, I can't talk. And yeah, you gotta help replenish your secondary. The Giants secondary did get torched a lot. Even if they resigned Adoree Jackson, I still feel like this would be a great pick for him.
Yeah, got to go corner. They definitely need the help on that defense. So like that pick. And then for the Commanders here at 40, they've already taken Chop Robinson and Jaden Daniels. I think you got to go offensive line here. Just go someone that's versatile, someone that can move around that offensive line. I'm thinking about either Graham Barton or like a Christian Haynes, who's just a really, really solid interior guy. I, you could even go Patrick Paul, pair him up with his brother who's on the Commanders. I think ultimately I'm going to go Christian Haynes here. I really love him as a prospect. I think he's really helped his stock since the Senior Bowl, and I think you could just start him day one and he'd be really solid. So I like that.
I love Christian Haynes, and he even has I think a lot of teams were talking at the Senior Bowl about him even being able to play center. So, he can play all 3 interior positions, and a guy from a smaller school, but with a lot of upside. Love the pick. Packers. This is interesting. I would not hate to go back to the defensive side of the ball and keep adding to that defense, and I think I want to do it. We got who was the corner I gave him in the first? It was Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Cool.
Ooh, man, I think I might want to go safety here. I think I want to do it, and I think I want to go Cameron Kitchens. I think this guy is a nose first, run down, play free safety, play strong safety, has elite traits, and you, like in Pokemon, you got to catch them all. You got to have all those. You got to have all those defensive players, those DBs. So I think Cameron Kitchens is probably a sweet spot of where he's the first safety off the board. I think he ultimately will be the first safety off the board. Yeah, I'm gonna go Kitchens here.
Yeah, like if you lose Darnell Savage, I feel like he's like a Darnell Savage comp. You could just fill him in right for him. They're kind of similar players. So like that pick, they definitely need the secondary help. And then the Vikings have their pick here at Bo Nix or Michael Penix. We're going to give them a quarterback to maybe sit behind Kirk Cousins for 1 year. And in that case, the player that you want to sit behind a Kirk Cousins, like you're not really going to want to sit Bo Nix. I feel like he's already had so much experience, and Michael Penix is experienced too, but just has the better arm, the higher upside. So I will sit Michael Penix behind Kirk Cousins, and I am ultimately going to take Penix here for the Vikings. It's an interesting fit, but I do think
Oh, you really think over Bo Nix? You don't think Kevin O'Connell would like Bo Nix a little bit more with the accuracy? I mean, they're both super accurate, but I don't know. I don't know. I could see either one. I don't know. That's both. I don't know. I don't know. Sorry.
Kevin O'Connell might like Knicks like over the middle a little bit better, but I just think in this scenario, if you're gonna sit someone, I don't think you should sit the older guy. So I am just gonna take Michael Penix. What does it say their ages? No. I'm gonna take Michael Penix.
I like it. I like it. Honestly, you know what you're getting out of Michael Penix. I don't think one of them really asserted themselves over the other at the Senior Bowl. I think Michael Penix was a little bit better. Yeah, I like it. I do. I do. I like it.
Falcons took Terrion Arnold at 8.
Ooh, we got Terrion Arnold at 8, huh? Who do we got? Oh, I think I'm gonna keep adding to the defensive side of the ball here, with a defensive minded head coach and Raheem Morris and Braylon Trice, man. We need edge help on this team. We really don't have an elite edge rusher. Braylon Trice does have the flexibility of playing in and out. Yeah, Braylon, I mean, and this is actually a really good, value for Braylon Trice. Yeah, let's lock Braylon Trice in here.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like he shouldn't be here. He's a beast. He's a really just solid player. You could start day one and be solid for you. So I like that pick. Good starter for that defense. And then for the Raiders here, you could either go Bo Nix, or you could maybe go running back. You're going to lose Josh Jacobs. You could maybe go Trey Benson to start at running back day one, and I like
Do it,
that as
Dan.
well. That's tough.
Do it,
Would you
Dan.
pick Nix?
I would. Tom Telesco, obviously drafted an Oregon quarterback for the Chargers. Bo Nix is sitting here. I don't think you could really honestly roll into an NFL season with Aiden O'Connell and expect to be a contender in the AFC West when you're playing Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes 4 times a year. Um, Bo Nix is an older guy. I think he can start right away. I think he's definitely got a lot more upside than Aiden O'Connell. So I don't know. It's your call. I would like any pick though.
No, yeah, I would say watch out for Trey Benson. I could totally see it happening, but I am going to take Bo Nix. It does seem like a fit if he fell here. You're not in this scenario. You're not getting Jaden Daniels. I feel like he might end up being a Raider. I just feel like the Raiders are going to pay too much to ultimately get Jaden Daniels. But yeah, in this scenario, I think they'd take Nix.
Yeah, no, I really like that, and I feel like this is kind of the sweet spot. I think they would ultimately, and when we do a trade scenario, I think they'd ultimately trade to maybe the beginning of the second round, borderline first round picks. One of these teams to get their dudes in Penix or Nix. And the Saints here, I think the Saints would also have loved to have Bo Nix here, to sit behind Carr on a cheap contract. Um, gosh, we could go a lot of different. Who do we give them in the first round? I blanked it.
We gave him Latu first round.
Um, Ooh, I wouldn't mind addressing the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Graham Barton here. Another guy with flexibility of playing tackle and guard. You need offensive line help. You can never go wrong with an offensive tackle. Graham Barton, a really clean prospect. Yeah, let's go Graham Barton.
Yeah, I feel like that was the easy pick right there. You move him anywhere, it seems like a saint. You could honestly start him day one as well, really anywhere on that offensive line. So, pretty self-explanatory pick there. And then for the Colts, I think it's another self-explanatory pick. You take literally the best player available, and Rakestraw just seems like a wait. Didn't we give them?
We gave him,
Um,
yeah, we gave him Quinion.
Oh no, Rakestraw felt like too perfect of a fit there. It still almost is too tempting, but I will look elsewhere. I will look at that defensive interior. I feel like with Tavondre Sweat somehow still available, I have to take Tavondre Sweat here
I
to
like that.
replace it. Grover Stewart, just plug in that defensive line. The Colts love their defensive line. This is too easy. I can't believe he's still available. We fumbled that.
I feel like it's a pretty good range for Javante Sweat. I feel like he's just an early down type of player. Obviously, maybe if you have him on the type of conditioning like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had Vita Vea on, maybe he could be a 3 down type of player on defense. But yeah, Javante Sweat, true one technique. This guy is absolutely massive. You put him in on rundowns, and he's taking the guard and the center with him. So yeah, that feels like a Colt, feels like a Ballard pick. I absolutely love it. Let's see. I got the Giants, who we gave Romo Dunze, and then I gave him a corner at the beginning of round two. Lassiter.
Lassiter.
Oh gosh, we go in a number of different directions here. But I think, oh yeah, we could go interior offensive line. I think, ooh, what linebackers are? Oh, we still haven't got. Oh, yeah, I think I am gonna do that. I think I'm gonna go Edrin Cooper here, the number one linebacker on my board right here. A great run defender, a guy that can maybe develop a little bit better. I mean, he's got an 85.5 coverage grade. Yeah, let's go Edrin Cooper here. Let's get the best linebacker off the board, the guy with the most flexibility, and let's help solidify the middle of that Giants defense.
Yeah, great athlete as well. So, yeah, like you taking Cooper for the Giants, feels like he could start day one and have a good impact. And then for the Jaguars, we took Brian Thomas at 17, and I think you actually stay on the offensive side and you go
I
off
agree.
the line.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
I don't know about you. I don't know if this is what you were thinking, but I think Cooper Beebe just feels like a
Oh.
Jaguar. I think you could start him day one at guard opposite of Scherf, and it's just beautiful. But what do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna go him or Frazier, but yeah, either one is great. A guy from Kansas. I feel like Kansas always breeds offensive linemen, like the farmer type of boys. So yeah, that's a great pick. You can't go wrong there. This one's a really easy one for me. Jatavion Sanders for the Bengals. You got JC Latham in round one. You desperately need a tight end. Jatavion Sanders is the clear cut tight end number two in a weak tight end class. And a guy who I think with Joe Burrow could actually be a very, very elite tight end. So that's a no-brainer.
Absolutely beautiful. He shouldn't be here. I think the Chargers, if they didn't take Bowers in this mock draft, would have taken him with the fifth overall pick of the second round. He feels like that type of player. He could easily go back into the first round. He's a star. I feel like he shouldn't be this low. That's just an absolute steal for the Bengals. It's honestly scary to think about that fit. And then I've got the Eagles here. I took corner round one with Wiggins. Tempted to take another corner damn near here. But ultimately, I think the smartest decision here. You know what? A Jalen Polk, who's kind of a perfect wide receiver too, outside guy who's like a perfect just back number two receiver. I would actually love the fit with the Eagles. Ultimately, I think I'm just going to go interior offensive line. I think Zach
Ooh, but do you want to address the fact that sorry, blanked his name. Their edge rusher.
Hassan Reddick is going to get
Yeah,
traded.
yeah,
Definitely. I was thinking, I mentioned that to you. The edges available aren't the greatest, and I do like Nolan Smith. I did forget about Nolan Smith, who they drafted in the first round last year.
yeah.
He'll probably just start and be good. So I'm actually going to take Zach Frazier. You have
Oh, that's
Jason Kelsey
perfect.
retiring. You can just plug him in. You can keep Dickerson on at guard. You can keep Jurgens at guard, and yeah, this is perfect.
Yeah, no, that's damn near perfect and absolute. That's one of the steals of the draft right there. Zach Frazier honestly should not be this low in my opinion. He's an elite center. But yeah, that's perfect. Oh, the Rams here, who we gave a corner to earlier, Cooper DeJean. We could go, and I think we could go offensive line. Oh man, Shaw's still here. We wouldn't even mind double dipping at corner. Um, Gosh, go back to the top available. Maybe this is a good spot for Jonah Ellis.
Tyler Newman could be
Ooh.
nice.
You know who I do like here is Braden Fisk. You start preparing for life after Aaron Donald. This guy is an elite pass rusher. Yeah, and if you get him a season under I'm gonna go Braden Fisk here. You got to start thinking about life after Aaron Donald, and this guy at the Senior Bowl showed that he's an elite pass rusher. He's an elite win rate, and maybe his running defensive grade could his run defense could improve a little bit, but Aaron Donald's a true pass rusher, and you start preparing for life after Aaron Donald, and he's an elite prospect.
No, I love that. I think that's a great process and thinking and drafting that defensive lineman. And for the Steelers here at 52, you took kind of the dream draft pick in Amarius Mims in the first round. And here you're just going to take best player available, a guy who's fallen. You're going to take Ennis Rakestraw. You can start him day one on the outside at corner, and he's going to be pretty solid for you. I think he has a lot of upside and tools in there, and I think Rakestraw is going to be a solid pro for the Steelers.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Dolphins, we gave them an edge, right?
Dolphins, we give Jared Verse. Yep.
All right, now I think we do got to address the offensive tackle side of the ball. There's, yeah, Kingsley Seal Mateo, or however you say his name, from BYU, a guy that kind of declared early. At one point was looked as a lock for the first round, has kind of fallen off, but then again went to the Senior Bowl, had a pretty good Senior Bowl. Who should be honestly early second round is where we're looking at this guy's value. So yeah, let's give him to the Dolphins. I like that.
I absolutely love this. He's very versatile as well. I feel like he might project best as a guard. You could start him out at left guard and then eventually replace Ferron Armstead with him. This might be the perfect dream land spot for Sua Matea, the best possible landing spot for him. And then Eagles have another pick after taking Zach Frazier and Nate Wiggins. And this one, I mentioned it earlier. I set it up, and I am going to take Jalen Polk. He just feels like a perfect Eagles and receiver and a perfect complement to an AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. He just feels like that perfect kind of other guy for them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. The rich get richer in their wide receiver room. It never hurts to just attack. Honestly, a valuable position like receiver where guys are getting paid. In the 20 million plus, which you might have two receivers when Devontae Smith might be a 20+ million-dollar receiver here soon. So I really like that. Is this the Browns' first pick?
That first pick,
Wow. Oh, Ooh, we could go in a number of different directions here. um, Gosh, maybe I want to go safety. Maybe I want to go safety. Javon Bullard here is tempting. Sione Vaki would be kind of a fun pick. Tyler Nubin. Gosh, I mean, you got Amari Cooper, you got Donovan Peoples-Jones, you got a
Receiver
good
could be
tight end.
slept on here. Like Walker's fallen, man. He really has.
He was just so bad at the Senior Bowl. His hands are so bad, dude. Gosh. Um, Brendan Rice could kind of be fun here too.
Pearsall could be good here too. I mean, I don't know. I feel like receiver would be a smart pick.
Maybe I want to go defensive side of the ball. Um, Gosh, this is a hard one. This is a hard. Oh, Mike Sarens still would be fun.
Move him anywhere that start him in the slot, start him
And
at
you
safety.
already got good corners, but you add him, and he's just that versatile chess piece. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do Mike Sarens still. This guy is just an elite. He will play anywhere in the secondary at an elite level. You add him to a secondary room that's already got Denzel Ward, and Greg Newsome. That's beautiful, man. You just keep your corner room locked down.
No, I like that. You kind of just start him. You just put him anywhere on that defense, and you insert him into your lineup, and he's gonna have an impact. And now for the Cowboys, I'm gonna pair Byron Murphy with someone, and oh, I remember a lot of mock
Think
draft.
Tyron Smith leaves?
Um, I could see him leaving, honestly. I feel like he'll leave to like the Chiefs or something. Yeah. Um, yeah, you're right. Tackle would be a good pick. I was gonna go Tez Walker because I feel like that was a kind of linked for a while now, but I do think tackle would be the pick here. And Dominic Pooney, who you can kind of move around, you can play him really anywhere on the offensive line. I do like that. I'm actually going to go with Patrick Paul though because I really like his just pass protection set. I like his technique, and I think he's really smooth and fluid. I think the Cowboys would like to mold him actually.
Yeah, and if he goes to the Cowboys, he's going to be a top 10 tackle in the next 2 years. So that's just what they do there. That's what they do in Dallas. They breed offensive linemen. They do it at an elite level. Um, wow, the Packers, just the youngest team in the NFL. We already gave them
Cam
Kool-Aid
Kitchens and
McKinstry, and
Kool-Aid.
wow. I just feel like their offense is just so set. They just got such an electric receiver room. They killed it at tight end last year. Do I want to add to that defensive line now? Do I just want to go all out defense? I mean, Jonah Ellis is still on the board here. That's very tempting. Who's the top interior guys?
Top interior, Dorless.
Ooh, I would like Dorless here.
Leonard Taylor seems like a Packer too.
Ooh. Yeah, let's add to the middle of that defensive line. I feel like they're so set on offense. And minor free agency pickups on offense could just really solidify them there. And let's just build a young defense, man. Let's go Dorless. You have him on the inside, got Rashawn Gary on the outside. Yeah, I mean, just add they do have a good defensive interior, with Kenny Clark. But Dorless is a true pass rusher. He's maybe a little bit undersized for the position, but a guy that can really, on big passing downs on third and longs, he could just be a true difference maker there for the Packers. Yeah, let's go Dorless.
Yeah, really good athlete that you can move anywhere on that defensive line. I really like that. And then the Buccaneers, who already took Troy Fautanu to move around their offensive line. I am going to go receiver here with this pick, and I will take the guy who's fallen, Tez Walker. I
I
feel like
like
it's around where he ends up, and this is a good fit.
Yeah, that's a great fit. A guy that, can really develop his craft behind Chris Godwin. And hopefully you get Mike Evans resigned for a 1-2 year deal. And Mike Evans' eventual replacement. I mean, this guy at the Senior Bowl was really beating people. I mean, he was beating people off the line. He was getting open. It was just the focus. It was a lot of focus drops, and it seemed like it was getting to his head. But I mean, the elite. I mean, you need to do two things as a wide receiver. You need to get open, and you need to catch the ball. He was doing one at an elite level, and he was doing one at a really poor level. But in a scenario for the Buccaneers, who can kind of be patient with him, I think that's a perfect fit.
Right. And what are the Texans going to pair Darius Robinson with?
Oh man, oof. Jonah Ellis would have been a fun pick here. Maybe we go running back here though. Maybe I want to go running back. I don't feel like the Texans. I don't feel like Devin Singletary or Damian Pierce are really elite running backs. You got Trey Benson, Jonathan Brooks. Is Jonathan Brooks going to be healthy?
He'll be close to healthy around the time the season starts. I like him staying in the state of Texas. He's probably the best overall back, and then you just take him because why not? You have good backups to fill in till he's healthy. I think that might be the move. Trey Benson is probably the best. I don't know. It's close.
Let's go Jonathan Brooks. You can afford to be patient and get Jonathan Brooks healthy. He would have been a consensus easy running back one if it wasn't for his injury. Yeah, let's go Jonathan Brooks. They're a team that can, doesn't have to put him in. And I mean, they could sit him for the first 5 weeks until he's 100%. And this feels like a good range for the first running back to go.
Yeah, no, I honestly like that. I hadn't really seen that, but that would be really fun. And then the Bills, who took Troy Franklin earlier, are gonna add to that defense. They definitely need to add to the defense. Although tackle wouldn't be bad by any means. I don't love the tackles on the board. Tyler Nubin feels like he shouldn't be here. He's an absolute stud. You kind of do expect to lose one of your safeties, but is that your biggest need right now? Who are the best edges?
Do you think this is Jonah Ellis? I mean, Austin Booker, his stock has definitely been rising.
Yeah, I like Isaac too. We're the def. No, you know what? I kind of like Tyler Nubin here. I feel like you're going to lose one of your veteran safeties, Hyde or Poyer. So I do like Tyler Nubin. I think he might end up as my number one safety, and I think he'd just be a steal.
That's actually a beautiful pick. That's that feels like one of their veteran safety. That feels like a guy's going to be a Bills veteran for a long time. It feels like a Jordan Poyer type of guy. I really like that. Man, do I stop the slide with Jonah Ellis here?
I would have
Yeah,
really called a slide. I think this is the
man.
round where he should go. I think
I mean, yeah, I don't really. I mean, he had an elite season, but he is kind of a stiff kind of prospect. I mean, we got watch a lot of him at Utah, but I also feel like the NFL. His dad, his brother, I think he has like two brothers in the NFL. His dad was in the NFL. He's comes from a football family. I feel like definitely could be a Dan Campbell type of guy. Yeah, I think you pair him on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah, I want to do Jonah Ellis here. I feel like this is, it's not a slide actually at all, but this is probably the range where he should go. I mean, he did have a 13 sack season. He really improved. He's improved all 3 years. I think he's a coachable guy. He comes from a football family. Yeah, I feel like Dan Campbell would absolutely love this kid and definitely help develop him better. So yeah, let's go Jonah Ellis here.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a Lions type player. You can definitely be really confident that he could play day one. He's refined. You could rotate him around on the defense, and he'll make an impact. So I like that pick. And then for the Ravens, this one's pretty easy for me as well. You go running back. You go your best running back available, and I'm gonna go Trey Benson, who I think outside of the injury questions with with Jonathan Brooks, I am going to take Trey Benson. I think he's just the most well-rounded back in this class. He reminds me of Jonathan Taylor. I really think he can have that type of impact, just be a really good all-around back and just kind of dominate in the zone run scheme. So I think he's a perfect Raven.
Yeah, no, I like that. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, both upcoming free agents. The Ravens are definitely a run first team or need to be a run first team. That's kind of how they operate. They win up front, and a big physical running back like Trey Benson seems like a perfect fit.
All right, Chiefs went Keon Coleman in round one. What are they doing here? They're
All
just going to
right,
draft someone that turns into an All Pro. So who's it going to be?
who's our best interior guys at this point,
Um,
or interior? Sorry, defense.
to replace Chris Jones.
Yeah, who I don't think and I mean, gosh, and we could also look corner. Leonard Taylor, wow, would be also L'Jarius Sneed might be gone. Ooh, would it be too early for Brownlee?
Ooh, no, not
That's
at
the
all.
perfect He is L'Jarius Sneed 2.0. They let L'Jarius Sneed walk. They get a third or fourth round comp pick. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., a guy that many have compared to L'Jarius Sneed, had an outstanding Senior Bowl. Just really attacks the ball. One of the more intriguing prospects. And man, it makes me sick picking him to the Chiefs. Damn it.
No, that's just beautiful. You really wouldn't even really miss Snead too much in the end. I think he would just be a perfect CB1 for them. He'd fill right in. So I think that's really fun for the team that's playing in the Super Bowl today.
And
Love
I'm
that.
just gonna say like I'm going to copy a word that you told me, or a little quote for Jarvis Brandley. He said he always puts himself in a position to make a play, and that was a Dan quote. So yeah, just had to put that out there.
Yep, 100%. He does put himself in those like playmaking Deron Bland type of positions to get those corner or to get those interceptions. And then for the 49ers here at 64, you took Jordan Morgan in the first round, the offensive lineman. And here I'm just going to do the flashy thing. I'm going to say that you lose Brandon Ayuk and you're going to take Jerry Rice's son, Brendan Rice, and you're going to keep the legacy going in San Fran. And I love Brandon Rice as a prospect. I'm a lot higher on him than honestly most people. I will say that, but I just think he's going to end up being good. I think he has that dog in him. I think he's just going to be a beast. So I love the parallel with having him go to the Niners.
I think we just cooked. I think we absolutely just freaking cooked in the first 2-round mock draft. I'm freaking pumped, bro. Holy swear words, because we just damn near just cooked up an insane mock. So you leave us your comments, you let us know how you feel, but I'm saying right now, we just cooked. That was a damn near flawless 2-round mock, and I can't wait to be doing these every week, man. So fun, such a fun exercise.
Yeah, let the NFL seekers cook. I feel like almost every pick is just realistic at the very least. You could talk yourself into it. I feel like most fan bases should be pretty happy with most of these picks. And yeah, I really like this one. Really fun doing these mocks. We are going to try to get one out every Monday to you guys, mock draft Mondays. So yeah, this was really fun. Anything else you want to say?
No, we'll post this on Instagram. We'll post this. Leave us your comments. Leave us your feed. This is just, it's fun, man. This is fun. And yeah, I feel like we just absolutely cooked some fire up here. I can't wait to get this out to the world to see. And I'm pumped, man. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. I hope the Chiefs lose. And I can't wait for the draft.
Yep, this will be posted right when the Super Bowl is going on. So yeah, have fun watching the Super Bowl. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another long, in-depth Seekers mock draft. We'll have a lot more draft content. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment. Peace.
Peace.